What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, what I'm going to be talking about is if your mower blades are engaging but then later on disengaging while you're mowing. This is a common issue that I see customers come in all the time, and they always think it's a PTO switch, and usually it isn't. And they will insist it's a PTO switch. That's all I want you to do that. And I try to tell them that's probably not going to solve your issue. It's probably the most rare reason why the blades will engage and then disengage. Now, just real quick, if you have a mower that has a manual type blade engagement, such as this one, where basically it's just tightening up the belt against the engine's crank pulley, this video is not for you. I'm talking about if you have a toggle switch or a pull-up type switch, you'll have a clutch like this where it's drawing from the battery power to engage the deck belt. And if your mower blades are disengaging and they don't ever come back on, I would highly suggest you immediately drive the mower back to a spot where you can check the battery, because chances are your charging system isn't working. Like I said, that clutch is always drawing power from the battery, and if your engine isn't charging up the battery, your charging system, chances are your engine's going to die soon. The first thing that's going to stop working is that clutch. Your blades are going to cut off. So if the blades don't come back on, just immediately assume that your charging system may be going out and the engine might shut off soon, because the coils aren't going to get any power. If the blades are randomly coming back on, I would still suggest checking the battery first and checking the charging system. That's what you always want to start with. It's kind of the foundation to diagnosing an electrical problem. Make sure you got a good battery and good charging system. I made another video of that, how to do that. I'll put a link down in the description. Now, guys, I'm not saying it's never the PTO switch. I'm just saying, in my experience, it's rare that it's the PTO switch compared to these other three things I'm going to show you. So first, it's the PTO switch is the least common in my experience. The next to least common, but more common than the PTO switch, is the seat safety switch. And one thing that might happen is it'll work intermittently. It'll go out, and so you can check this with a voltmeter. I'll show you that now. Now, the sit-down mowers, they're usually located right here in the middle of the seat. They can be a little bit more difficult to remove. They got a little wiring harness here you can clip off, but to check it, you can leave it installed into the seat. But I'm going to show you real quick on a stander how to check these. Now, on the stander units, they're called operator presence switches instead of a seat safety switch, because it's on this foot plate. You see how it's actuated there? You step down on that foot plate, but it's pretty much the same switch. All right, guys, so you're going to need to get a voltmeter and know how to check continuity. So you want to hook up your leads to the switch, and then when you press that button down, I got mine set to where you'll hear this beep here in just a second. So that shows that it's good, and then when I release the switch, it goes silent. So that means the switch is working properly. All right, so I know what some of you guys are going to say in the comments, that if it's the operator safety switch or operator present switch, seat safety switch, whatever, it'll shut down everything, engine and blades and everything. Well, on certain models, on most models, it will shut down the engine and the blades simultaneously. On some models, it will only shut off the blades. But if you have a voltmeter, it's really easy to check and confirm that. You don't have to take it off of the unit to check it. You can leave it installed. Just hook up those leads to your voltmeter to where the wiring harness plugs in, and just check to make sure that that's working properly. All right, the next thing that's more common is the wiring harness. First, check these connections, make sure they're nice and clean. I spray some WD-40 in these connections and blow it out with the air compressor. Works great to clean them up. WD-40 isn't going to hurt anything. It's just going to help clean it up. Use that air, blow it out, clean it up, and then you want to check continuity of the wiring harness. And I didn't even take the wiring harness off of this one. I got my lead. You got a red wire and a black wire, so just make sure you got them connected to check continuity, to make sure that that wiring harness is not damaged in some way. All right, guys, next up, the most common issue is also the most costly issue. The clutch bearings will wear out and they heat up and they overheat the clutch, and it'll cause it to the electrical, it just won't work. They get so hot, and then what will happen is, as it shuts off, stops working, the clutch will kind of cool off a little bit, and you might wait 5 or 10 minutes. They might kick on. It might work for 30 seconds. It might work for 5 minutes. Just depends on how bad those bearings are worn out, how much heat it's causing, and that's the most common issue I see of when your blades will cut off and then come back on randomly, is the clutch bearings have worn out and are overheating the clutch. So this is actually the same mower that customers insisted that it was the PTO switch, nothing else. That bearing felt fine. I turned it over. This bearing here, I know you guys can't tell, but man, it was very hard to turn. I'm sitting here trying to turn it, and that is what was overheating this clutch and not allowing it to work anymore. It would work after it would cool off a little bit, but this bearing is just about to seize up, and that was causing the issue. And again, this is just from my experience. It is more often I have replaced clutches than anything else. This is the most common issue of why your blades will not engage, or they stop engaging, or the blades stop working while you're mowing. And I'm going to show you some footage of one right here, right at the end of the week here before we let off for the weekend. 281 hours, almost 282. Look at the bearings on this one. It wouldn't even allow the motor to start. It was locked up. Here's another example of another customer with the same type of mower, saying the PTO switch was bad. I hooked up a test light, and you could see PTO switch was working just fine. I don't even have the motor running in this situation. I have the e-brake up, and switch is working good. Ended up being the clutch on this one. So guys, hopefully this video has helped you guys out if you're having that issue. I know it's bad if you have to replace that clutch, but here's one thing I would suggest. If you haven't watched my other video called PTO Clutches 101, go to PTO Direct and you can get these Warner clutches for about half the price as if you were to go to like deere.com. If you have a John Deere, you know, you can go to PTO Direct and get the clutch that you need for pretty much half of the price. And I want to give a special thanks to all those of you who have given me a super thanks, a generous super thanks. I want to give a shout out to Squeaky6. just gave me a very generous donation. I'm going to mention you in another video, like I like to do in the beginning of other videos. But real quick, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to give you some bonus footage right now. All right, so I had a customer this morning with another clutch issue. His blades were staying engaged, and I'm thinking I might make another video going over this topic where the blades will not disengage. Okay, and what had happened was he brought his mower in actually this morning. He called me yesterday and he said, hey, his belt had shredded and it came loose from, he has an old 757 mower. So it has like a belt that goes from the back of the engine up to the deck and hits this one idler. Anyway, the belt shredded and it got wrapped up into the into this right here, and so the clutch wasn't able to disengage. All right, and when I had that clutch off, I felt of his bearings and they felt really rough, and I said, man, this thing is on borrowed time. So what I did was, I'm going to show you guys what I did. This isn't his clutch, this is a different one. These clutches have like this little plastic piece right here. And so I took that out, and then what I did is I took, you guys know me, I love my WD-40. I took some WD-40 and I sprayed into these bearings, right? And then I took my air compressor and blew it all out. I'm basically using the WD-40 to clean out the grease, all right? And then what I did is, once I got it nice and clean with the air compressor, it was feeling so much better. And then I took some wheel bearing grease and I packed it all in there, and then I put this cap back on, and I guarantee you his bearings were so dried, so rough, I guarantee you he's probably going to get 100 more hours out of that clutch from doing that. So I'm not recommending you do it. I'm just saying that's what I did. You do what you need to do. I'm just saying that's one thing that I did. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I have more videos like this coming soon, guys. And I'm doing these videos to try my best to help you guys out. It's not really, it's just kind of more just for information and help you save some money on repairs with things being just crazy the way they are. So anyway, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next